The idea for this particular presentation came about from some of the live classes that I teach in both project management and business analysis. Not only did the participants find these particular tools, decision tables and decision trees, to be particularly useful, but they also thought that they were a little difficult to use, especially at first. Moreover, in my consulting work with clients, there is an increasing emphasis in using these tools for risk analysis. As such, I felt as if these topics would make for a great webinar. Now, instead of trying to provide you with a comprehensive overview of these tools, I've developed this presentation with the goal of giving you the foundational skills and information to begin using them. This presentation is by no means complete, yet I'm hopeful that by the end of the presentation you'll be able to take away some great ideas for your own projects. So why don't we go ahead and get started by taking a look at the agenda I have planned for this session to find out exactly what we're going to cover. I think in order to get the most out of this presentation, I've decided to keep the presentation focused on only 6 items, or what I like to call the 6 W's. First, I want to answer the question, what? What are decision tables and decision trees? In other words, I want to provide you with an overview of what these tools really are. Next, I will answer the question, who? Specifically, who uses decision tables and decision trees? And while many, many people can use these tools, I'm going to keep today's presentation focused on business analysts and project managers. Then we'll look at the third W, when. When would project managers and business analysts use these tools? After that, we'll answer the question, where. Where can you create decision tables and decision trees? And what I actually want to do here is provide you with a short list of software tools that will help you with creating both decision trees and decision tables. The fifth W will answer the question, why. Why would you use these tools in your work environments? And believe it or not, those first 5 W's will make up about the first half of this presentation. Then, for the remaining half of the presentation, I'll look at the final W, how. I'm just going to steal that final W from the word how to be our 6th W. And we're going to go step by step through the process of creating both decision tables and decision trees. And along the way, I'm also going to be throwing in a few more important topics that can help you use these tools for risk analysis. But let's go ahead and get started with the first W, or what. What are decision tables and decision trees? Why don't we start with decision tables? And Wendy, I think I have lost control of the presentation.
You lost control?
Yeah, I can't seem to progress to our next slide.
What?
Yes.
There you go.
Do you have that on your screen?
Yeah, do you see it now? I see the what on my screen.
No, sadly I do not.
Okay. I see the what with the green.
Oh, wait, there it is. Maybe I just have a delay going on here. And hopefully I didn't click it too many times. It's going to start advancing. We'll see. Actually, I may have. But all right, let's just see where we are here. First of all, I want to give you a little bit of a definition. As you can see here on the slide, a decision table associates conditions with actions to perform based on what I'm going to refer to as a business level rule. In other words, we can use a decision table to help us make the right decision when we have several conditions that could be at play, and when each condition has several possible states. Each of these conditions, combined with the others, would result in a specific action to be taken. So let's go ahead and look at an example of this. And we'll see if I can bring that. There we go. All right. Looks like I'm back in control. Here is a simple, very simple example. It's a decision table that will help us make the right decision when troubleshooting a printer problem. You'll notice that there are 3 conditions that could occur when you're having a printer problem. And obviously this is a very simplistic view of printer problems. But each condition can either be in a yes or no state. For example, the printer is or is not printing, the red light is or is not flashing, and the printer is or is not recognized by the computer. For each of these conditions, when combined with the others, you would require a different action to fix the printer. For instance, you might need to check the power cable, check the printer to computer cable, ensure the printer driver is installed, check or replace the ink, or check for a paper jam. By following the rows across the conditions and combining their states, you'll then be able to correctly troubleshoot the printer by following the action down the associated column. For example, if the printer is able to print, the red light is not flashing, but the printer is not recognized by the computer, which actually is that 7th column that you can see under the Rules section, you can see that you would need to ensure that the printer driver is installed correctly, as that is the only action that has an X in its column. So this is just a small example of what a decision table is. Why don't we also take a look at what a decision tree is? A decision tree, again, if we looked at a definition, is a decision support tool, or what we might call a decision analysis tool, that uses a tree-like graph of decisions and their possible consequences. What makes this tool quantitative is that you can include chance event outcomes as well as the costs associated with the decisions made. So once again, I have a very simple example for you on the screen. Let's say that we're trying to decide if we should expand our factory. That decision is placed in a box on the far left of the diagram, and there are two choices. For instance, we could actually expand the factory. That would be the yes choice, or no, we should not expand the factory. And these two choices are presented in separate boxes that connect via arrows from that original decision box. Of course, whenever you're making a decision, each choice has some kind of cost. It's $1.5 million to expand the factory, or $0 to not expand it. And you can see these costs on the arrows coming from the two decision choices. However, it's not that easy because there are other factors that will come into play when making the decision. For instance, we might know from the state of the current economy what the chances are for a good economy. We could say maybe 40%, or for a bad economy, which would be about 60%. And those chance outcomes are added to the decision choices via arrows and circles. Next, we would want to include some quantitative data about how much we would expect to gain from a good economy and from a bad economy. And those boxes are added to this diagram. And I don't actually have values for those choices yet, but we'll be doing another example with some real values in just a bit. But with a little bit of math that I promise I will walk you through, you can then see the real risks associated with whatever decision you make. So now that we have an idea of what both decision tables and decision trees are, let's take a look at who actually uses them. As I mentioned in my opening comments, this presentation is far from comprehensive. There are many, many people who can use these tools. For example, it could be a help desk analyst using a decision table for troubleshooting a printer, as we saw earlier. It could also be a senior executive trying to decide on a strategic plan for an organization, as we saw with the factory expansion. Maybe you're a software tester. You can use decision tables to ensure test case coverage. But for the purpose of this presentation, I plan to look at how two groups, business analysts and project managers, would use these tools. Now, if you don't fall into